Today, we're going through the 23 signs that your dog's body is short on the nutrients it needs. But before you need the why, because nutrition trouble nearly always falls into a few buckets, and which one you're dealing with changes everything. The first is the food itself. It's incomplete or just wrong for the dog. An unbalanced homemade bowl, an all-meat diet, too many treats crowding out the real food. The second is the gut. Even on good food, a damaged gut can't pull the nutrients out. That's malabsorption, a wall between the meal and the dog. The third is the diet quietly working against itself, where the wrong balance blocks the nutrients that are there. And the fourth is the dog itself changing. Disease, medications, or a life stage like growth or pregnancy that shifts what the body needs or burns through. Hold on to those, because every sign we're about to cover traces back to one of them. My old shepherd mixed Gus is lying at my feet while I say this. So trust me, I get the worry. Stay with me, because the most dangerous part of all this isn't any single sign. It's the move owners make the second they spot one. Sign 1. Unexplained weight loss. Let's start where a lot of you started. The weight's coming off and you didn't change a thing. Same food, same bowl, same routine, and the dog's getting lighter. That's worth paying attention to, and here's why it earns the top of the list. Weight loss can ride along with a protein shortfall, with vitamin A, niacin, folate, or cobalamin problems, with exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, with plain old malabsorption. The body is either not getting the fuel or not holding on to it. But, and this is the part to hold on to, plenty of things that have nothing to do with nutrition will drop a dog's weight too. So what does that mean for the dog in front of you tonight? It means weight loss is a pointer, not a verdict. It's the body raising its hand and saying look closer. It is not the body telling you what's wrong yet. And the first place that look closer leads is the frame itself. How thin is too thin? Sign 2. Low body condition, too thin. Maybe you've already run your hands down his sides and the ribs are right there, sharper than they used to be. The waist tucked in hard. That's the next sign, and it's one vet's actually score. We use a body condition score, 1 to 9, and for most dogs the healthy spot sits around 4 or 5. When a dog drops below a 4, or the weight's changed and nobody knows why, that's flagged as a reason to dig in. It's not me being dramatic, that's a standard screening trigger. For you at home, here's the plain version. Being too thin is DITA. It's a number on a chart that says, this dog needs a real assessment. It is not, on its own, proof of which nutrient or which disease. Thinness tells you that something's off, never what. Now peel past the fat cover, because the muscle underneath tells the next part of the story. Sign 3. Muscle loss. Atrophy. Run your hand over the top of his spine, over the back legs and the skull. If the muscle feels wasted, like it's melting off the bone, that's sign number 3, and it's a serious one. A protein deficiency causes skeletal muscle to break down. The body literally starts spending its own muscle for parts. That's exactly why vets score muscle condition separately from fat, because losing muscle hits a dog's strength, its immune system, and its ability to heal a wound. What that means for your dog is heavier than it sounds. Fat loss is the body running low. Muscle loss is the body cannibalizing itself to keep going. It's a deeper alarm, and it tells you the problem's been running a while. And in a puppy, the same shortage shows up wearing a different mask, not as muscle melting away, but as growth that simply stalls. Sign 4. Poor growth, failure to thrive in puppies. If you've got a pup who isn't keeping up with the litter, who's smaller, slower, just not thriving the way the others are, pay close attention here, because young animals don't have time to spare. A protein shortfall can stunt growth, so can a biotin problem. And there's an inherited issue where certain breeds, giant schnauzers, border collies, beagles, commodores, can't properly absorb cobalamin, and affected pups fail to thrive. Add calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin D imbalances on top, and growth can stall from several directions at once. Here's why this one's different. A stalling adult is a problem you investigate. A stalling puppy is a clock running down because the body is building itself right now and there's a window. What gets missed in those weeks doesn't always come back. But before the body ever shows it, most owners notice something else first. The energy goes. Sign 5. Lethargy, low energy. You know your dog's normal, so when the spark dims, when he's sleeping more, slower to the door, just flat, you feel it before you can name it. That's sign 5. A shortage of vitamin E, biotin, or magnesium can drag a dog into that listless state, and so can a lot of absorption problems. A vitamin A deficiency can make a dog sick in broader ways, but I'll be straight with you. It's not a clean, low energy diagnosis. And here's the catch on this whole sign. Low energy is about the least specific thing there is. Nearly every illness a dog can have will steal energy. So what do you do with it? You file it. Low energy widens the net. It tells you the dog isn't right, but it never narrows it down on its own. It's a symptom that needs company before it means anything, and it almost always brings company. The most common partner shows up at the food bowl. Sign 6. Decreased appetite, anorexia. When a dog that used to inhale dinner starts walking away from the bowl, that lands in the gut for any owner. Sign 6 is appetite falling off. A protein deficiency can blunt appetite. So can vitamin A, vitamin E, niacin, and folate shortfalls, and cobalamin-related disease. The body, in a strange way, sometimes turns down the very fuel it needs. Think of appetite as the fuel gauge. When a dog stops wanting to eat, the needle's reading low, and combined with the energy drop you just heard about, you've got a body telling you it's running short. Two soft signs starting to point the same direction. Now we move from what you feel to what you can actually see. And the first visible one is sitting right on top of your dog. Sign 7. Dull, unkempt coat. A healthy coat has a shine to it. So when it goes dull, dry looking, kind of tired and unkempt no matter how much you brush, that's sign 7. And it's one of the most Googled of the whole list. A protein shortfall can do it. So can a folate problem. A poor coat is listed as a genuine nutritional risk factor because the body builds that coat out of what you feed it. Here's the thing to understand. The coat is a slow mirror. What you're seeing today reflects weeks of nutrition, not yesterday's dinner. So a dull coat is real information. It's just information about the long game, not a snapshot. And the skin living underneath that coat tells the next chapter, where a lot of owners take a wrong turn. Sign 8. Dry, scaly, flaky skin. Part the fur and you see it. Dandruff, rough patches, skin that's gone dry and scaly. Sign 8. And this is where I have to slow you down for a second. Yes, an essential fatty acid problem can leave skin dry and scaly. And thin, dry, flaky skin with hair that plucks out easily is a recognized nutrition-related sign. That part's true. But here's the trap I'll come back to at the end. Flaky skin is not automatic proof your dog needs an oil supplement. Reaching for one off a hunch is exactly the kind of guess that backfires. What it means for you right now is simple. Note it. Don't act on it alone. Dry, scaly skin earns a closer look at the whole dog, not a bottle off the shelf, especially once the hair itself starts coming out. Sign 9. Hair loss, poor hair growth, thinning patches, bald spots, fur that just won't grow back where it used to. Sign 9, and I'll be straight with you. This is the one owners misread more than any other. A zinc problem can cause it. So can an iodine issue, but so can food allergy, atopic dermatitis, and a long list of skin diseases that have nothing to do with a missing nutrient. Diet is one possible category here, and it's far from the most common. So what's the takeaway? Don't let hair loss convince you it's a deficiency, because the odds say it's often something else entirely. This sign needs a real diagnosis, not an assumption. And where the trouble crusts up gives you an actual clue worth knowing. Sign 10. Crusting around the eyes, muzzle, mouth, ears, or foot pads. If the crusting and scaling shows up in specific spots, around the eyes, the mouth and muzzle, the lips, those junctions where skin meets the moist tissues, that pattern is worth flagging, because location tells a story. In more severe cases, the foot pads get involved too. That distribution is the classic look of zinc-responsive dermatosis, and there are breeds prone to it. Those Nordic breeds, the Siberian Huskies and Alaskan Malamutes, can carry a genetic glitch in how they absorb zinc. But, and I cannot say this strongly enough, this needs a vet to diagnose and a vet to dose, because zinc is not something you hand out at home. For you, the lesson is that where the skin breaks down is a clue your vet will want. You're the one who can describe the pattern. Skin also shows you when a body has run out of the budget to repair itself. And that's the next sign. Sign 11. Poor wound. Healing, slow recovery. Ever notice a small cut that just lingers? A recovery from something minor that drags on far longer than it should? That's sign 11, and it points somewhere specific. A protein deficiency means the body can't respond properly to injury or illness. It doesn't have the building blocks to do the repair. And that muscle loss we talked about earlier ties right in, because losing muscle is linked to worse healing and a weaker immune system. Plainly put, slow healing means the repair budget is empty. The body's triaging, spending what little it has on staying alive instead of patching up the small stuff. And that same empty budget shows up another way, as problems that keep coming back no matter what you do. Sign 12. Recurrent infections, persistent parasites. If you feel like you're fighting the same battle over and over, infections that return, parasites that won't fully clear, that pattern is sign 12, and it connects back to the same root. A protein deficiency is linked to persistent, unresponsive parasitism, to low-grade infections that hang on, and even to weaker protection from vaccines. A body short on protein simply can't mount a proper defense. So what this means for your dog is that the recurring problem might not be bad luck. It might be a body that doesn't have the resources to win the fight and stay one. Now we go inside the dog, into the gut, because this is where food can go in and almost nothing sticks. Sign 13. Chronic vomiting, nausea, or regurgitation. Throwing up that won't quit. Nausea, lip licking, food coming back up. Sign 13. And it's the gateway to the most important group on this whole list. Altered gut function, and that includes ongoing vomiting and nausea, is a recognized trigger to assess a dog's nutrition. But chronic vomiting also flags a long list of diseases that have nothing to do with diet, which is exactly why it can't be ignored. Here's where I put my foot down a little. Persistent vomiting is a see your vet and soon sign, not a wait it out sign. If it keeps happening, that's a real conversation with a real veterinarian. And its partner at the other end of the dog is, frankly, worse. Sign 14. Chronic diarrhea, large volume loose stool. Loose stool that won't firm up. Big volume day after day. Sign 14. And now we're closing in on something with a name. Malabsorption and exocrine pancreatic insufficiency both cause diarrhea and weight loss, because the gut can't break food down or pull the nutrients out. Niacin and folate shortfalls can bring diarrhea into the picture too. Large volume, ongoing loose stool especially points at absorption failing somewhere along the line. What this means is that the food may be passing straight through without ever being used. That's a fundamentally different problem than not eating enough, and it's one only a vet can sort out. And the cruelest version of this is the dog who's eating more than ever and still shrinking in front of you. Sign 15. Weight loss, despite increased appetite. This one stops owners cold. The dog is hungry, ravenous even, cleaning the bowl and begging for more and still losing weight. Sign 15. If this is your dog, lean in. This combination is the hallmark of malabsorption, and dogs with exocrine pancreatic insufficiency are often exactly this: eating constantly, wasting away. The food's going through them, not into them. Here's what it means, and I want to be direct. This is not a problem you fix with a better topper or a scoop of something from the pet store. A dog eating more and losing weight needs a prompt vet appointment. And make it same day or emergency if he's also weak, dehydrated, vomiting, collapsing, passing blood, or going downhill fast. There are real tests for this, and they're how you actually help. When absorption fails long enough, the blood itself starts to show the strain. Sign 16. Pale gums, Anemia, lift your dog's lip and look at the gums. Healthy ones are a good pink, though plenty of dogs have dark pigmented gums, so you may need to find a non-pigmented patch or check inside the lower eyelid. If those membranes have gone pale or washed out, that's sign 16. A shortfall of protein, folate, cobalamin, iron or copper can all be linked to anemia, and blood work is part of how a vet sorts out which. But here's the honest picture. Pale membranes can mean anemia, sure. They can also mean shock, internal bleeding, or poor circulation. Nutrient deficiency is just one box on a much bigger list. That's exactly why pale gums sit right on the edge of the danger zone. This isn't a nutrition puzzle to mull over. Pale membranes deserve urgent veterinary guidance, full stop. Which is exactly why everything from here on out is the group I never let an owner sit on. Sign 17. Excessive bleeding, bruising, or prolonged bleeding bruises showing up without a reason. A small cut that bleeds far too long. Sign 17. And this is a stop reading and act sign. A vitamin K deficiency can stretch out clotting times and cause excessive bleeding. The blood can't clot the way it's supposed to. And I'll tell you plainly, this is one you do not manage at home with anything off a shelf. What it means for you is simple and urgent. Bleeding that's excessive, bruising you can't explain, blood that won't stop. That's a same day to emergency call every time. There's no watch and wait on bleeding. The mouth has its own emergency tell, and it's a dramatic one. Sign 18. Oral ulcers, bloody saliva, severe bad breath, or bloody diarrhea, a bleeding ulcerated mouth. Blood-tinged drool, breath that's gone severely foul, sometimes alongside bloody diarrhea. Sign 18, and it has an old, vivid name. A niacin deficiency in dogs can cause what's called black tongue disease. Anorexia, weight loss, bleeding in the gut, and inflamed ulcerated tissue in the mouth and throat with that terrible odor and blood-tinged saliva. But I want to be square with you. This is rare in dogs eating a proper complete diet, because a dog can actually make its own niacin from tryptophan in the food. A bleeding, ulcerated mouth is far more often dental disease, kidney disease, a toxin, an infection, or a foreign body than it is a vitamin problem. So what this means is the important part. Whatever the cause, a mouth like that is not a dental nuisance you wait on. It's an urgent vet sign, period. The niacin angle is just one rare entry on the list. And from here, the body's very frame can start to bend, especially in the young. Sign 19. Lameness, stiff gait, bone pain, or difficulty rising a limb. A stiff, careful walk, trouble getting up off the floor, pain when the bones are touched. Sign 19. And in a young dog, this one carries real weight. In growing animals, rickets and disorders of calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin D cause exactly this. Bone pain, a stiff gait, difficulty rising, lameness, and a classic cause is a boneless, meat-heavy diet, because plain muscle meat runs high in phosphorus and low in calcium, throwing the whole balance off. What it means is that in a growing dog, this is the frame itself starting to fail. The skeleton's being built wrong in real time, and sometimes you can actually see the bone changing shape. Sign 20. Bowed limbs or swollen growth plate areas in puppies. If a puppy's legs are bowing, or the joints near the ends of the long bones look swollen, that's sign 20, and the clock is loud on this one. Rickets causes swelling at the growth plates, bowed limbs, and abnormalities right where the bone is supposed to be lengthening. You're watching a developmental window try to close around a problem. What this means for you is that time matters more here than almost anywhere else on this list. A puppy showing limb deformity needs a veterinary assessment. This is not a, let's see how it looks next month situation. Because left too long, the bone can reach a point where it can't bear weight at all. Sign 21. Fractures, severe bone pain, or inability to walk breaks from forces that should never break a bone. Severe pain. A dog that can't stand or walk. Sign 21, and this is bone disease at its worst. Advanced rickets can lead to fractures, and in a growing dog, the signs can run all the way from a slight limp to a complete inability to walk. The bone has gotten so poorly built, it simply gives out. There is no soft way to say what this means. It's an emergency. Full stop. A dog that can't walk or is fracturing easily needs care now. not a diet adjustment later. And when a deficiency reaches the nervous system, it gets scarier still. Sign 22. Neurologic signs: ataxia, weakness, seizures, tremors, or paralysis. Stumbling like he's drunk, sudden weakness, tremors, seizures, even paralysis. Sign 22. And this is among the most frightening things an owner can witness. A thiamine deficiency can cause ataxia and severe neurologic signs. A vitamin A deficiency can include ataxia. A cobalamin deficiency can cause neurologic damage. And here's the twist that proves my whole point. Vitamin A in excess can hurt a dog too. A sudden, acute overdose can cause severe neurologic signs. The slower, chronic kind of oversupplementation usually shows up instead as bone problems, stiffness, a poor coat, weakness, and weight loss. Too little and too much both cause trouble. What that means is stark. Neurologic signs are an emergency no matter the cause. And the fact that an overdose looks as bad as a deficiency is exactly why guessing is so dangerous. The last sign hides in plain sight, right in your dog's eyes. Sign 23. Eye and vision problems, night blindness, photophobia, dry eye, corneal opacity, keratitis, bumping into things in dim light, squinting at brightness, eyes gone cloudy, dry, or painful. Sign 23, and it closes the list. A vitamin A deficiency can cause night blindness, severe dry eye, conjunctivitis, clouding and ulceration of the cornea, keratitis, retinal degeneration, and a painful sensitivity to light. A zinc deficiency can bring keratitis into it too. The eyes, it turns out, are hungry for the right nutrients like everything else. What this means is that vision changes belong on this list right alongside the dramatic stuff. The eyes are quietly telling you something's off. So now you've got all 23. You know the signs. Here's the one move that decides whether your dog actually gets better or ends up in the emergency room. The one move that backfires and what to do instead. Remember the thing I warned you about at the very start? Here it is. The instinct. The second you spot a sign is to reach for a supplement. Grab some vitamins, some fish oil, a scoop of something that promises to fix it. That instinct is the trap. Here's why. Human multivitamins and supplements can contain ingredients that are flat out dangerous to dogs. Xylitol, iron, high-dose vitamin D, garlic, caffeine-like stimulants, things like 5-HTP, and big mineral doses. Vitamin D is the scary one. A real overdose can be fatal, and the signs can start within 12 to 48 hours. So the rule is simple. Don't give a dog human supplements unless your vet specifically tells you to. Even the natural boosters can bite back. Feeding raw egg whites regularly can bind up a dog's biotin. Though true deficiency from it is rare, and some raw fish, freshwater fish and clams especially, carry an enzyme that destroys thiamine if it's fed often. The cabinet you'd rate to help him has more ways to hurt him than most owners realize. And there's a deeper trap underneath that one. Every single sign on this list, the weight loss, the dull coat, the diarrhea, the pale gums, the seizures, can be caused by a deficiency or by too much of something, or by an allergy, an infection, parasites, a hormone problem, organ disease, cancer, or a poison. Same symptom, completely different causes. Guessing means you might treat the wrong one while the real problem keeps going. So here's what you actually do, and the first steps cost almost nothing. Flip the bag over and read the label. Find the AAFCO statement that says the food is complete and balanced, and check that it's made for your dog's life stage. Puppy growth, adult maintenance, whichever fits. Match the food to the dog. Measure what you're actually feeding. Keep treats and table scraps under about 10% of the day's calories so they're not crowding out the real diet. Track the weight, the body condition, the stool, the coat. If you're switching foods, ease into it over 7 to 10 days. And write down a full diet history to bring to your vet. The bigger tests, checking cobalamin, folate, the pancreas, imaging, bone x-rays. Those come after the signs and the exams say they're worth doing. Not before, and never off a guess. The signs point. The vet diagnosis. You stop guessing.